From sneaking out of the hostel at night, helping satisfy each other's urge, to even using hard drugs to terminate pregnancies, you won't believe the crazy and fetish things that happen in this girls-only boarding school in one small African town. And this is why you must always check on your children regularly, especially those in boarding schools. Here's what happened in Goodness College. All the students looked up to Anita. She was the perfect senior girl. Her uniform was always clean, her hair was always neat, and her smile was as bright as the morning sun. Teachers loved her, and students admired her. During the day, Anita seemed like the kind of girl every parent would want their child to be, but when the night came, Anita was a completely different person. She had a secret life that no one knew about. When the hostel lights went off and everyone else was deep in sleep, Anita would quietly get up from her bed. She moved like a cat, careful not to make a sound. She reached under her mattress and pulled out a small bag. Inside were clothes very different from the school uniform, shiny, colorful clothes that sparkled like the stars. Anita tiptoed to the back of the hostel, where the two small fences stood like silent guards. With one swift move, she climbed over the fence, her small bag slung over her shoulder. On the other side, she would change into her fancy clothes. The simple schoolgirl transformed into someone else entirely, looking like she belonged to the big city. Every night she went to parties there. The music was loud and the lights danced in many colors. Anita laughed, danced, and had the time of her life. By 5 a.m., just as the birds began to sing, she was back at the hostel. She climbed the fence again, changed back into her uniform, and slipped into bed before anyone woke up. To her classmates and teachers, Anita was an angel. No one suspected that at night, she lived a life full of secrets. If only they knew, Anita whispered to herself one morning as she folded her shiny dress and hid it under her mattress. Her double life continued like a stream flowing quietly in the shadows. One night, Anita was at a party that glittered like stars in the sky. The music boomed, and the air smelled of expensive drinks and perfumes. While dancing, she met a lady with sharp eyes and a sly smile. The woman leaned close and whispered, "You could make much more money, you know. Just bring a few more girls with you. Men will pay for them, and everyone goes home happy." Anita's ears perked up like a cat hearing a mouse. The idea sounded sweet, like honey dripping from a comb. She thought about it, nodding slowly. Who should I start with, she wondered. Then it hit her. Toshi was a quiet junior student with a sad look in her eyes. Her parents never visited her on visiting days, and they didn't send her money or food. She always ate the school's small portions, and sometimes she even went to bed hungry. Anita knew Toshi's struggle and decided to use it to her advantage. The next day, Anita cornered Toshi near the hostel. Her voice was as sweet as sugar. "Toshi, I've noticed you've been managing," she began. "What if I told you there's a way to make money and live better?" Toshi's eyes lit up, curious. "What do I have to do?" she asked softly. "Just follow me tonight," Anita said. "I'll take care of everything. You'll make enough money to buy good food and anything else you need." Toshi hesitated, her heart beating fast like a drum, but the thought of having money to eat better meals tempted her. Finally, she nodded. "I'll go," she said. That night, when everyone was asleep, Anita woke Toshi and handed her a small bag. They sneaked out, just like Anita always did, and climbed the fence. Once outside, Anita gave Toshi a dress that shimmered like the morning dew. Toshi looked at the dress unsure, but Anita urged her to wear it. When they arrived at the party, Toshi's eyes widened. The room was alive with lights, music, and laughter. Everything felt strange and exciting. A man approached, smiling at Toshi. Anita whispered, "Go with him. You'll be fine." Toshi, nervous but trusting Anita, followed the man. Hours later, he returned her with some money in her hand. Anita smiled as they headed back to the hostel, sneaking in just before dawn. The next morning, Toshi was tired in class. Her eyes heavy like stones, but her pocket was full. When Anita shared the money with her, Toshi felt a mix of happiness and guilt. It's not so bad, she thought. From that day, Toshi became part of Anita's secret world, and the game had only just begun. Toshi couldn't stop smiling. The money she earned from sneaking out with Anita felt like magic in her hands. She bought extra food, snacks, and even a few nice things for herself. It was like a new world had opened up, and soon her excitement became hard to hide. One day, while they sat behind the hostel, Toshi whispered to Simi, her classmate, about her newfound secret. "You can make a lot of money, Simi," she said, her voice low but teasing. "You just need to come with me and Anita." Word spread like wildfire. One by one, girls started approaching Anita, asking if they could join her. Anita smiled slightly, knowing her little group was growing. She picked only the prettiest and the most daring. By the end of the week, her crew had grown to 6 girls, each one eager to sneak out at night and return before dawn with more money. Anita needed to keep things organized. "We can't get caught," she said, her voice firm as she addressed the group. "Everyone must follow my rules. If you mess up, we're all in trouble." The first rule was to smuggle phones into the hostel. The girls hid them in their lockers, under mattresses, and even inside their shoes. They used these phones to chat with the men they met at the parties and arrange their secret meetups. But soon, something unexpected happened. One of the girls, Tammy, missed her period. Her heart pounded with fear as she told Anita, "I think I'm pregnant. Let me know if you need more assistance." She whispered, tears in her eyes. Anita, calm as ever, shrugged. "Don't worry," she said. "I know a chemist who can fix it." That night, Anita snuck out, not to a party, but to meet a chemist who was part of the scheme. He handed her a small packet of pills, telling her to rest for a few days. "Make sure no one finds out," the man said. Anita returned and gave the pills to Tammy, who stayed in the hostel the next day, pretending to be sick. By the 3rd day, Tammy was back on her feet as if nothing had happened. This became their routine. Whenever a girl got pregnant, Anita would visit the chemist, get the pills, and keep things quiet. The girls continued sneaking out, dancing the night away, and returning to the hostel with money in their pockets. Anita controlled everything like the captain of a secret ship, sailing through dangerous waters. The girls trusted her completely, but little did they know that the path they were on was like a road paved with thorns, hidden under soft petals. For now, the secret group thrived, but trouble was waiting just around the corner. In the school was a beautiful, innocent girl named Yugo. Yugo was the kind of student everyone admired. She was brilliant, focused, and had earned a scholarship to Goodness College through her hard work. Her parents, who came from a humble background, had one piece of advice before she left for school: stay focused, avoid trouble, and make us proud. For a while, Yugo did just that. She stayed away from drama and always sat in the front row during lessons. But everything changed when she met Simi and Annie, some of Anita's close friends and partners in crime. Simi and Annie were the exact opposite of Yugo. Their parents were wealthy, and they lived like queens in the hostel. They wore expensive clothes, bought snacks whenever they wanted, and carried the latest phones. Yugo couldn't help but admire their lives, even though she knew their behavior wasn't the best. One afternoon, Simi approached Yugo with her usual confident smirk. "Yugo, why do you always sit here with these boring girls? Come hang out with us," she said. At first, Yugo hesitated. She had heard stories about Simi and Annie, and her friends had warned her. But the way Simi spoke with her smooth words and charming smile made Yugo feel special. Before long, she started spending time with them. One evening, Simi said, "We're sneaking out tonight. There's a party at this cool club and you're coming with us." Yugo's eyes widened. "No, I can't do that. What if we get caught?" Annie rolled her eyes. "Caught by who?" "Everyone does it, Yugo. Don't be such a baby. Besides, don't you want to have some fun for once?" After a lot of pressure, Yugo finally gave in. That night, when the hostel was quiet, she followed Anita, Simi, and Annie as they snuck out. They handed her a short, flashy dress and a phone. Yugo looked at it, unsure. "This is too much," she said. "It's too short." Simi laughed. "Do you want to go looking like a grandma? Wear it or stay behind." Reluctantly, Yugo put on the dress, and they climbed the fence together. The club was loud and packed with people. Yugo felt out of place, but Simi and Annie moved around like they owned the place, while Yugo sat nervously at the bar. A man approached her. He was tall, confident, and had a smooth voice. "Hi, beautiful," he said. "What's your name?" Yugo looked away shyly. "I don't talk to strangers," she said. The man smiled. "I'm Sam, and I'd like to be your friend." Yugo didn't know how to respond, so she stayed quiet. Before he left, Sam slipped her a piece of paper with his number. "Call me," he said with a wink. The next morning, back at the hostel, Simi and Annie teased Yugo about Sam. "Do you even know who he is?" Simi said. "He's rich. He can buy you anything you want." Yugo shook her head. "I don't need anything from him." But Simi and Annie wouldn't stop. They painted pictures of luxury, of a life where Yugo wouldn't have to struggle anymore. Slowly, their words began to sink in. One day, Yugo picked up her phone and dialed Sam's number. From that day, Yugo started sneaking out regularly with Simi and Annie. She met Sam often, and he showered her with compliments and gifts. But as her nights grew longer, her grades began to suffer. The once brilliant Yugo now struggled to stay awake in class, and her books gathered dust. She didn't realize it, but she was walking down a dangerous path, one step at a time. One sunny afternoon, as Yugo sat in the hostel trying to study, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Sam. "It's my birthday this weekend. I want you and your friends to come. I'll send a car to pick you up." Simi squealed with excitement when Yugo told her. "Do you know what that means?" "His house is probably a palace," she said, clapping her hands. Annie chimed in, "We have to look our best. This is our chance to meet other rich men." Yugo felt uneasy, but didn't want to disappoint her friends. That weekend, they sneaked out as usual. A sleek, shiny car was waiting for them outside the school fence. The driver smiled and opened the door, and they were whisked away like princesses to Sam's house. When they arrived, Yugo's jaw dropped. The mansion was massive, with sparkling lights and music so loud it seemed to shake the earth. The party was in full swing, with people laughing, drinking, and dancing everywhere. Sam welcomed them with open arms. "You look beautiful," he said, his eyes fixed on Yugo. She felt a strange flutter in her chest, but quickly pushed it away. As the party continued, Sam pulled Yugo aside and handed her a stunning gown. It glittered like 1,000 stars. "I bought this just for you," he said. Yugo smiled shyly. "Thank you," she said. But then Sam's tone changed. "You know, I've been very kind to you, Yugo," he said softly. "I think it's time you show me how much you appreciate me. Come with me to my room." Yugo froze. Her mind raced, and her heart pounded. "I can't do that," she said, stepping back. Sam frowned. "Why not? Don't you love me? I've given you so much." Yugo's voice trembled. "I made a promise. I won't give my body to any man until my wedding night." Sam's face darkened. "Promises don't mean anything here," he said. "You're mine tonight." Before Yugo could react, Sam grabbed her wrist and dragged her upstairs to his room. She begged and pleaded, her voice breaking like a fragile pot. "Please don't do this," she cried. "My sister died trying to end a pregnancy. I can't go down that road." But Sam didn't listen. He locked the door and forced himself on her. Yugo's screams were drowned by the booming music outside. When it was over, she lay on the bed, broken and betrayed. Sam left her there and went back to the party as if nothing had happened. Yugo, trembling, put on the beautiful gown he had given her. It was the only thing she had to cover herself. When she came downstairs, Simi noticed the gown immediately. "Wow, Yugo, you look amazing," she said, not noticing the pain in Yugo's eyes or the way her legs shook with every step. "Please take me back to the hostel," Yugo whispered, tears streaming down her face. Simi and Annie finally agreed. They sneaked back into the hostel just before dawn. In the safety of her bed, Yugo wept silently, her tears soaking her pillow. Her life had changed forever.